You know, I was 24 years old making 170 a year. It was convincing people like you that I was the best at what I did.
Okay.
You know, there's people in business for 30 years, right? And restoration is a relationship game, right? Like if you have a flood, I know this guy, he's owned this company for 30 years. You just opened up. Why am I going to trust you?
Yeah.
So it was building authority, building trust, building credibility. So like that was the hardest challenge. And
how'd you break through?
great work, good credibility, you know, and building trust. You know, that one job turned into, hey, thank you for referring them. They were great. And that turned into 2 more jobs. So that was like my whole thought process behind the book, was just giving like the dirty truth of what it is from starting a business from the ground up.
All right, what's up, Ronnie?
What's going on, Dan?
Thanks for sitting with me, brother.
Of course, of course.
So you and we got a little bit of history, right? Like I remember back in the day, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah.
You walked into my office, or one of your guys walked into my office, and then we had a meeting. You were at, you owned Rapid Restoration. I'd love to just, over the next 20 minutes or so, just like, BS. I just want to have a two-way conversation. Let's hear a little bit about your backstory.
Definitely.
Cool.
Definitely. Yeah, I remember that. I came into your office. I was like, hey, what's up? The lady, Maria. What's up, Maria? How you doing? Blah, blah. She's like, yeah, he's not here right now. I'm like, all right, I'll come back. And then I came back and I met you. And then it took like a good 3 to 4 months of bothering you before you started referring us.
It did. It did. It actually took me a while. Like that was in my beginning stages of even owning the insurance agency. So I didn't even really understand when to refer. Because client would come in, they'd have a claim, we'd file the claim, and then it was like too late. And actually your guy was in my office one day. And he's like, yeah, Tom. Yeah. And he was like, that's it right now. That's when you need to refer us. So we did. And you guys were great, man. Always your Google reviews speak for itself. You always had 5 stars across the board.
Couple hiccups, but
yeah, it is what it is. Tough business.
Tough business. Definitely a tough business, especially when you're working with a homeowner in such a distressed time and cutting off all angles and making sure that you provide 100% service across the entire claim. Yeah. It's tricky for a company to do, for sure.
Absolutely.
But, made do.
So I guess, how old were you when you started Rapid?
So I worked for ServPro from 16 to 24. And then I jumped into the own game. I was 24 years old. Yeah.
Man. So what inspired you to take that leap? I mean, a lot of people, quite frankly, don't have the guts or, to make that move.
Yeah. So honestly, it's kind of a long story if you're into hearing it. So
I'm in.
So when I was 15, my house burned down. 16, wow. I was in 10th grade. My house burned down to the ground. And all these contractors were rolling into our house and just taking advantage of my parents, and 100 grand here, 200 grand here. I'm like, this is an insane industry. I'm like, who's paying for all this? Insurance. I'm like, okay, cool. I was like, I got to get into this business. I was working at like Home Depot at the time. So I started working for ServPro like the next week. So I worked there for like 8 years, and I always knew that I was going to start my own company. I even told him when I started, I said, hey, look, I'm going to work here for a bunch of years. I'm going to learn as much as I can, but my goal is to start a restoration company.
Okay.
And he was a great guy. He was like, look, he loved the hustle. He's like, whatever you need. I was like, all right, cool. So I worked there for like 8 years, and then I was on the storm division team. We were going hurricanes. I was traveling Texas, Florida, Carolinas. And then it got to a point where I was like, it's time. I was a technician, I was a crew chief, I was a project manager, I was the general manager of the franchise, I was playing HR. I did every single position before starting the company.
You got experience in all
everything.
Sides,
I was like one of the highest paid employees in ServPro history of the franchise. I was 24 years old making 170 a year.
Nice.
So that was a hard jump too. I'm like, I can live comfortable right now. I'm paying $1,800 a month in rent for a 2-bedroom. I'm making 170 a year. I'm driving a nice car.
Dude, it's so funny you say that, not to cut you off, but like comfort could be, I feel like, people's biggest holdback 100%, too, right?
Definitely.
Because when you don't need it anymore, it's like, do I want to give this up? Do I want to make that move?
Yeah.
So that you kept pushing. You took
170. There's a lot more money out there.
Yeah.
And it's not just 170. It's never about money. It's more about like purpose and fulfillment, right? Like I always knew I wasn't going to be working for someone forever, and it was more of that, more than money. Like if I can work for someone and make 170, but I can go work for myself and make 100, I'd rather go work for myself and make 100.
Okay.
So it was more of like proving myself a point. Like I wanted to be a business owner. That's what I felt like I was wired to do. So at 24 years old, I forgot what happened, but something happened within the franchise, and I was like, this is my time. So I spoke to my boss, and I'm like, hey, this is the move. And he was super supportive. He's like, no problem, start your business. He's like, I'll give you some jobs to start and keep you going. So I was subbing for him for a while to like build my own crew and my own network of people to refer us work. And it just, from one thing went to the next and to the next. And
so 24, starting your own business, Rapid. What were some of the biggest challenges early on?
It was getting people like you to convince. It was convincing people like you that I was the best at what I did.
Okay.
You know, there's people in business for 30 years, right? And restoration is a relationship game, right? Like if you have a flood, they're not on Google. Maybe they are, but majority are like, oh my God, Susan, I just had a water damage. Oh, I used to use ServPro or this agent, or they'll call their agent. So it's a lot of relationship making. So it was very hard as a 24-year-old making relationships with all these 40-year-olds and older people to like gain their trust in me to take care of their clients.
So that's what somebody feels like walking into a 43-year-old now? Good to know.
You know what I
I'm
mean?
the old guy. Thanks, Ronnie.
No, but like as a kid, like you were probably like, get this guy out of my office.
No, I
get
it. I get it.
I know this guy. He's owned this company for 30 years. You just opened up. Why am I going to trust you?
Yeah.
So it was building authority, building trust, building credibility. So like that was the hardest challenge. And, you know, it worked. So, you know, a lot of effort.
I could see that, man. Trust is, I mean, on the, just as an outsider looking in, knowing what I know about the business, got to be really difficult because one, it's, you know, I hate to say it, it's kind of a dirty business, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of corrupt aspects to it, I think in some aspects. And then, you know, people are at their most vulnerable point, right?
Yeah.
It's an emergency. It's,
sure.
you know, this isn't something that you're planning on, right? Your house just got, you know, whacked with a fire or, you know, pipe burst and there's water everywhere. So they're calling, you know, us, or they're trying to find out who to call to stop it right away. So, you know, that's got to be tough. How'd you break through?
Great work, good credibility, you know, and building trust. You know, that one job turned into, hey, thank you for referring them. They were great. And that turned into 2 more jobs. And then like, hey, look, we work with this person already. If they're trusting us, why can't you? And then it went to the next person, and then the next person. And then we got to build up enough capital where we can start going online and paying for pay-per-click and Google and stuff like that. So reps, man, reps, and putting out good quality work all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
the thing that always got me in my time, like dealing with you, was I just was inspired by the business acumen, you know, like, you know, I saw your operation. You just did all the things right, as far as like, you made sure that every client was happy. You made sure everybody had, you know, 5-star Google review. You know, I think so many people in not just your industry, but that you were in, but like the blue collar kind of field, you might have like someone that was really good at what they did, right? They were a really good construction guy, or they're a really good plumber, but they're not a business owner.
Exactly.
And like, you made that transition and you put those processes in place. I mean, I remember going in, I mean, your salespeople were trained, man. Like you had sales playbooks, you had, you know, HR policies in place. Like, you know, you were running it like an organization, you know?
You know, and that's how a business should be ran. And, you know, a lot of things, it's tricky too, because like, as hard as you can try to make sure you have the best business or the best customer service, there's always going to be times where it's not that. And, you know, you can't control employees fully, but you can set a standard and hold everyone to it, and people are going to make mistakes and there's going to be problems. And I think the biggest thing for business owners is like, how do you handle the problems? Do you come out on the other side with a 5-star review and handle everything? You know, so that was like a little bit of challenge for us too, is, you know, every company has problems. You know, we were the best, but there was times where we weren't the best. But the way we handled them after the fact is, you know, the best way to handle them. And a lot of business owners don't do that. Oh, she's upset. I mean, she's being over dramatic. Like, dude, her house just went on fire.
Yeah.
You know, I will lose thousands of dollars before I have an unhappy client.
Yeah.
You know? And a lot of people don't operate like that. And that's why you said it's like a dirty industry.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people out here that just come into the industry and they just screw over homeowners and they just bang their insurance company for 50 grand and we're on to the next Susan. You know what I mean? And I wanted to set the standard for the industry and really show, like, that's the reason why I got into the industry. Because I care for people and I love serving people and I love helping people.
Well, you also had a personal experience with it.
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
That makes
I've seen it firsthand. So like, to come into this industry and be a scumbag, you know what I mean? It's like, wasn't my style. So I'm really happy with what we did. Everyone took care of everybody. Homeowners were happy. I couldn't be more happy.
That's cool. So what was I guess I was going to say what was the tipping point for you, but let's just transition for a second. So social media became a big part of your game, right? I think your IG handle, Restoration Boss, right?
Yep.
So so you built that. You built the brand. Rapid had their IG page, and you were just so consistent, man.
Yeah.
When did you realize that social media was like the way?
I mean, look at the generation that's coming up. Everyone's glued to their cell phone all day. I mean, I think like the United States screen time across the world is like 9 hours a day, which is insane, right? So you got all these people that are on Instagram all day. They're on Facebook. They're scrolling. These are all the people that are going to start buying houses within the next 5 years. So it's like, what do we want to do? We want to get ahead, or do we want to fall behind? Google's going to be off the map in a couple of years. If you go out to a restaurant, are you looking on Google, or I'm searching their Instagram? I'm like, how busy are they? How much business are they doing?
Yeah.
So that was my, that was my idea behind it. And it wasn't so much to just get leads. It was more like brand awareness. Yeah. Because like no one's has an active house fire and they're sitting on their couch scrolling Facebook, right? Like the goal was to just be in their face all day. Rapid. And then God forbid something were to happen, they're going to be like, oh, I see this company every day on social media. Rapid. Give them a call. So like that was our idea behind it, was just to pump out so much consistent content that's like when someone had a disaster, like we were undeniable.
Yeah.
Like
I think you nailed that too, because so many people chase view counts, right? Yeah. And it's ego in a lot of cases, right? Unless you're trying to be a digital creator or whatever, But for your business, you knew it was just about brand awareness and being there when somebody needed it, right? Kind of similar a little bit with me. Obviously, I'm trying to generate leads and stuff on social media, but people aren't thinking about insurance every day, right? So it's when they have a bad claim experience, or they just got their renewal and it went up. I want to be there. So Gotta put out that content. Gotta be ready.
It's the same thing with insurance. Like you're putting out consistent content, right? 7 days a week. Everyone's seeing it. They don't need you now, but someone's gonna need you eventually. Yeah. Who are they gonna call? That guy Dan. I see him every day on social media and Facebook yapping about insurance. Yeah. So like that's why I never cared about views, likes, nothing. It's just consistent content that everyone's seeing, because at some point in their life they're gonna have a water damage. They're gonna have a fire. And who are they gonna call? The people who aren't trying, they're not on social, or the guy who's trying, putting out content, educating the crowd, So that's why I feel like it's such a good way to run your business, because 5 years from now, everything's going to be social media.
And I know you believe that because you opened a social media company. Yeah. We'll talk about that in a minute. But so I guess with social media, just give us a quick pro tip. You built a lot organic. What would be, some advice you give to a business owner on social media?
To just start doing educational content, and not just, like a lot of people are on social media, but they're not using social media, right? Like you have these guys that are walking around with a cell phone. They're like, we're doing this job today, check it out, right? Like there's no action behind it. There's no strategy behind it. It's just like showcasing work. Like if you're a business owner, like what you need to be doing is sitting in front of a camera every day, doing educational, showing behind the scenes and how you operate as a business, because that's what people care about. Like they want to look at a business like it's a movie. They want to know the characters, how it started, what they're doing. That's how you keep people engaged. People can only look at an insurance office so many times, or look at a water damage so many times. Like how many times this guy's going to show us a flood? Yeah. But it's like, hey, this is how you prevent a flood from happening. If an event of a fire, this is what you do. Like you're just giving the audience something to pay attention to, rather than just scroll stopping visuals.
Makes sense. So let's transition a little bit. 24, built rapid. Obviously you did great there. So you sold the business. Yeah. So I mean, what the hell is that about?
So like that was always a goal, right? Okay. Build a business up, sell it, exit, right? I planned on doing that around like 40 years old. That was like my goal. But
and how old were you when you sold it? Or how old are you
31.
Now? So ahead of schedule.
Ahead of schedule.
I'm seeing a pattern though. Hold on. So you got into the business at 17, right? You had a goal.
Yep.
At 24, 7 years later,
wow, look at that.
Right?
Every 7 years.
Then 24, 7 years, sold the business but again, you also had a goal. So that's really cool. Like you knew what your plan was going in every step of the way. So sorry, my mind went there. I was like 7 years, so cool. So you sell the business and I mean, I see you chilling out in Montauk and all that kind of stuff. So you're enjoying life a little bit, which is good. You deserve it. We'll talk a little bit about personal in a minute, but it's not in you. You're a hustler. So you already started 2 other companies. Yeah. Talk to me a little about both of them.
Yeah. So I mean, so rapid sale, it's not that, everything was going great. I love the business. But like you said before, the business is getting a little saturated. It's getting a little funky.
Okay.
So
We'll leave it at that.
we'll leave it at that. And I would say halfway through, about 2 years ago, I met my media director, Chris, and he came up to me. He's like, "Hey, can I shoot a video for you?" I'm like, "Sure, dude, make me a video." Fine. He made a video, really cool, and then I fell in love with it. And I'm like, "You want a job?" And then I just got like obsessed with content and like showcasing our business, and it's like I got obsessed with it, and I like thank him. I'm like, "Dude, thank you for coming into my life," because then I get to I'm getting to execute what I really want to do. You know what I mean? Like I love photography, I love video, but I don't like actually executing it. It's tough, but I like the idea of it. So I got obsessed with content and media and everything like that, and seeing firsthand how useful it is to the business, right? Like we grow a massive amount in the last 2 years. We went from X million to X million, and I know strictly off content and brand awareness and everything like that, because we didn't change anything else other than that. So being firsthand in the driver's seat, witnessing how big that changed my business, I was like, this is what we're doing, because I would love to help other clients do the same.
And so that's your deal. So what's the name of the company?
Service Media Solutions.
Okay.
Yeah.
And primarily you're helping what, businesses? Or?
Yeah. So we called it Service Media Solutions because we specialize in service businesses.
Okay.
Then we pivoted a little bit to, because we're like, why are we capping it? We could do it for anybody. So of course we got to change the name of the business. But yeah, so we specialize in service, right? Because I owned a service business for 7 years, and it worked for us, and I know it can work for everybody else. So that's why I'm like heavily involved and adamant on why everyone needs to be on social media.
Okay.
And watching it change my life, it's like, why can't I apply it to the next guy and help them out? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Especially for a reasonable rate, because everyone's alternative is hiring someone in-house, 80 grand a year, 90 grand a year for a good media director.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can hire a company that is like an in-house team for you for a fraction of the cost. 1,000 a month, 2,000 a month, 3,000 a month, depending on the package. It's a no-brainer.
Nice little elevator pitch right there.
Yeah.
So you did that, but then you also kind of stayed a little bit more relevant to what you were doing, but maybe a little bit more on the back end. Northbridge Contracting?
Yeah, Northbridge Construction. So I'm a contractor at heart.
Yeah.
Like I'm a contractor.
Okay.
My father owned a construction company. My brother's in construction. My whole entire family's in construction. That's like my go-to. So it's like I can never let that go. And I have such a big book of business for my personal cell phone. It's like if I didn't have a construction company, I'd be stupid. Like so many people call me. And I love construction. I can't give it up, And it was a part of Rapid that we did too, construction. And that was like always, like I said, my go-to. I love transforming homes, siding, windows, kitchens, bathrooms.
Yeah.
And, I still love the client aspect of things, so I can't give that up.
What's cool though is like you kind of went on to I guess like if you look at it, Rapid was more of like people needed you at that moment, but with Northbridge, people want you, right? Yeah. That's a want. Like I always talk about that in insurance. I'll get the guy that just goes buys a $200,000 Porsche cash, but then is pissed about spending $400 on car insurance.
Yeah.
It's because there's the want. They want to spend the money on that, but they don't want to spend the money on the insurance. So same thing, right? Like nobody wants to have to, deal with a restoration company, but they want to upgrade their kitchen. They want to do, their backyard, whatever it is.
100%. And it's a lot harder too, right? Like restoration companies, everyone thinks like the best salesman because they're in restoration. But I'm here to say like, it's not hard to sign up a water loss. Their house is flooded and they need it cleaned up. Yeah. There's no sales. Of course, there's a sales process to doing it and informing, but like there's no sales to it.
Yeah.
Construction is sales. Like I need to figure out how I'm going to pull $60,000 out of your pocket to redo your siding and windows, or $30,000 for your kitchen. When restoration, it's like, hey, we'll cover your deductible, we'll sign you up, and it's like no risk.
Yeah.
In restoration, So that is the harder part to construction, but referrals, word of mouth, social media, pump out consistent content. Eventually, you're going to be the go-to guy, and the price doesn't matter.
Very cool. Is there a specialty you have at Northbridge? Like, is it just all together?
Yeah, I mean, we really, siding windows is like our main thing, exterior construction, and kitchens, bathrooms, really.
Okay.
Just all around construction.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I know you're going to kill it, and I look forward to what the hell happens at 38, because that would be 7 years, right?
Yeah. Look forward to it. Maybe I'll sell something else.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Or you're not done though. You're going to be starting something else.
Yeah, because when are you ever done, right? Like, what is retirement? Like, when are you your happiest? When you're working and things are working and you're making money off it? Like, you're not happy golfing every day at 30 years old. Maybe if you have 30 million in the bank, that'd be cool. But I mean, I know for myself, I'm my happiest when I'm working. Like Chris knows. I tell him every day, I'm like, dude, my brother's here from Sweden. I'm taking 2 weeks off. He's just like, okay, you know.
Yeah, you can't help yourself. You're still in
I'm
it.
restless, bro. I'm restless. Like I got to be working on something. If not, I don't feel fulfilled. I'll start getting depressed if I'm not working every day. Like that's just how I am.
Okay. So let's transition a little bit though to personal, right? Because there's obviously balance.
Yeah.
And you've taken, some time this summer or whatever to, spend some time in Montauk. But the last 3-4 years, man, you've had so many life-changing, things. So you got engaged, right? You got married.
Yep.
You've had a child.
Yep.
You sold a business. You wrote a book.
Mm-hmm.
What else? You did a major renovation to your house.
Yeah.
So, I mean, holy shit, like whirlwind of things, like, what's going on personally? How you keeping up with it all?
Oh man, I don't know, honestly. I'm just rolling with the punches. It's just like every day for me. It's like if I'm not under some kind of pressure and things going on, like I said, I'm losing my mind. So it's like, doing the renovations on my home, it keeps me busy, But I did get engaged, 2 years ago. We got married 2 months ago.
Yeah,
so that's
saw
good.
some pictures.
That's
Beautiful.
awesome.
Congrats.
We're raising a beautiful 3-year-old. Our son, he's the best. And honestly, man,
I'll give you the best son, but I got the best daughter.
Okay,
she's
that's
5.
fine.
She's
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah. She's so cute. I see her on your Instagram. You guys going to
Keep your
Bermuda.
son away, though.
Yeah.
Right.
Set up a play date or something.
Actually, if you sell another business, maybe we'll be good.
Yeah, no, man. But like, how do I keep up with it? To be honest, like, I don't know. Roll every day. Just wake up and get to work.
Yeah.
And it's never hard because I love what I do. I love my wife. I love my son. I love my business.
Yeah.
I love the people I work with. So it's like never a burden on me where I feel like I have to like pivot into a gear to handle everything.
Yeah.
It's like I wake up, I enjoy my life, and I have fun, and I handle whatever comes my way.
That's awesome.
And,
It's interesting though. Like I'm gonna plug insurance for a second.
Let's do it.
So all of these life-changing events you have, like I refer to them as like key life events, and they're triggers, right? Usually you should do like an insurance review at that time because these are major changes in your life. And what I found is that they're probably the most important times for you to reach out to your insurance agent, your insurance broker. But it's the time that people are least likely to reach out because they're so busy. They're consumed in preparing for the wedding or all these different life changes. Have you made that?
No, to be honest, no, I have not. I haven't even thought about it, to be honest. And it's like, I could see why, I guess, right? Because money's going out the window. Renovation, wedding. Like the last thing I want to do is call my insurance broker and be like, hey, up my limit so I could pay more money. You know what I mean? But like, if you sat me down and said, hey, like, made it make sense to me, I'd be like, duh. And I would do it. You know what I mean? It's just not something I would think of off a fly doing all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So it's funny. At least you have it kind of like top of mind. And I get it. Hey, I'm dropping this amount, like fixing my house. But yeah, when I hear these life events, like different things come to my mind, right? So you get engaged. All right, like you probably dropped a nice little penny on a ring. You need to insure that thing, right? It's not just covered on your regular homeowners. You need that's scheduled personal property.
Yeah.
Then you get married, right? It's time to get you both on the same insurance policy, right? You're not riding on different auto policies now. You probably need to up your life insurance or get life insurance if you haven't had it.
Yeah.
You renovate the home, the rebuild cost. Now you're in a little bit different of a situation because you could do a lot of work yourself.
Yeah.
But to the average homeowner, right? They redo a kitchen, they make some change. They gotta, they need to up their limits and make sure that or maybe just make sure that the rebuild cost is aligned with what it would cost to redo the house. Then.
I look at it like a total loss standpoint, right? Like if I have 700,000 worth of coverage, I definitely need up my policy. I know I don't have enough right now, and that's something I definitely need to do. But like I look at it that way, like okay, worst case scenario, my house burns down, and I have $700,000 in coverage, but my house is worth 1.4. I can build my house for 700,000, but the average homeowner couldn't. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's like that's why I haven't looking. That's why I agree. Like I haven't taken a look at it too much because I know I can get it done. So why pay an extra $3,000 a year?
Yeah.
You know.
And you also have knowledge though, but like it's funny, like that's one of the things that people are most confused about when I talk to them. Rebuild cost versus market value.
Yeah, yep.
You know, they're like, oh, well, my house is worth $1 million. Why do I only have 600,000 in coverage? Or on the flip side, they're like, my house is only worth 400,000. Why is it insured for 700,000?
Exactly.
And it's like, where you live, what, like, if I take your house, you know, that's in, I'm just going to make it up, Brentwood, and I move it to the Hamptons, the market value goes up a lot.
Yeah, 100%.
But the rebuild cost is going to be pretty similar, right?
Definitely.
On the flip side, if I take your house and move it to Buffalo, it's worth a fraction of what it is here in Long Island, right?
Exactly.
So,
and it's like exactly what you're saying. Like, yeah, house is worth 1.4, but I have it insured for 700,000. But I'm in a beautiful neighborhood. You got it. Like your house is on 1.5 acres, which costs money. The acreage costs money.
yeah,
You know, the school district costs money. So it's like your house isn't worth 1.4.
yeah,
The home itself is worth 700. That's what you can rebuild it for.
yeah.
You know,
So
replacement cost value.
exactly replacement cost. So yeah, man, you definitely need to get on that. If you
We'll
don't
chat
have,
after this.
yeah. So there's some changes you need to make. Look, talk to me a little bit about your book. So you wrote a book, Growing Pains.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I really wrote that book. I've been jotting down my entire life in a Google Drive for like the last couple of years, like different points in life. And then like, you know, lately I just see everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Everyone wants to be a business owner because it's the new fad. It's fun. But a lot of people do it. They fall flat on their face because they don't know anything about business, and they get depressed and they start drinking, and then it's like a whirlwind of events. You know what I mean? Like, not everyone's cut out to be a business owner.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
not as
they
easy
are.
as what.
It's not as easy as everyone makes it seem on social media.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
They're just trying to sell you something.
trying to sell you something. Exactly. And it's like, I feel bad for the generation that's coming up that has to feel pressured to be a business owner. So like, I kind of wanted to just put everything into a book where like, hey, like if you're 19 years old or you're 22 years old and you want to start a business, read this book because it's going to show you what it's really like to be a business owner, not what you see on Instagram.
Yeah.
So that was like my whole thought process behind the book, was just giving like the dirty truth of what it is from starting a business from the ground up.
Yeah.
And every phase is too. Year 1, year 3, year 5 to selling. So in that book, there's every aspect of the company and every problem, situation, win, training, team training,
Yeah.
personal development. Everything's in the book to just give the average person who wants to start a business a bigger look at like what it's actually like to start a business.
So do you think it's useful for people that already own a business
100%.
to read it?
Because like, you know, people plateau in business, right? They start a business, year 1's always like the best year, sometimes not. But then you get to that 2 to 3 year mark where everything starts seeming repetitive. You start doubting yourself and like things aren't working the way you thought it was going to, right? Like you grew from month 1 to year 1, right? Like that's like your biggest growth. You're busy. But then it comes to a point where you actually have to be a business owner, an entrepreneur, and solve problems and actually grow the business. So like everyone plateaus around like year 2,
Yeah.
year 3, and they get stuck. Repetitive, they're working in, they can't replace themselves, so they're stuck working every day. They either give up and go work for someone else, or they figure out the problems and what they need to do to go to the next level.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that's like a lot of personal development, team training, SOPs, everything like that, and really structuring your business in a way that you can get out of the day to day and actually work on the business and stop working within the business.
Dude, I love it. What you just said, back in the day, like I used to be a VP of sales at another company, and this gentleman, he owned a farm. It's called Red Apple Farm. And Al Rose, awesome guy. And he used to fly into Long Island, a couple times a year, drive in, whatever. And he'd spend a day or two at our facility, and and we'd ask him, Al, like, why do you take the time away? You're so busy. He said, Dan, I know that in these 2 days, I'm going to work on my business, not in my business. And he said, it's the number one thing that I've learned is like, I have to take away, too many of us get stuck working in the business, not working on the business. So I love that expression so much, man.
And it's so true because like, if you're working in your business every day, you have no time to work on it. And when you're not working on it, you're not growing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people get caught in the day-to-day chaos. So they're spending all this time within the business and they think they're being productive, but they're killing the business, so you got to work out of that.
Also, man, like, you mentioned SOPs, like, and I could talk about business. I love it, but process, I think people struggle to scale. So when you're early and you're starting on, so much of what you do, right? Or your success is how good you are, right?
Exactly.
But then as you start to grow, you need more people.
Yeah.
So with people, you need two things, in my opinion. You need to be able to have process, right? And you also need to be able to skill transfer.
Yeah.
Right? If you can't skill transfer and everything falls on you, you're going to plateau. There's only so big you're going to get.
100%. And the only way to not do that is to have your SOPs, have your training, have like, you know, your non-negotiables and your company standards, and build training around that. You know what I mean? And aside from that, you need to be a good leader. You need to be a leader who people want to work for, right? So like, you can only grow your business. Your business is only going to grow as much as you want to grow as a person, right?
Yeah.
You know, you just sit in your chair all day and bark orders and sit behind a computer. No, your team's not going to grow.
Absolutely.
You know, you're in the fire, in the trenches with them every day, you know, working on the business, and they see that, they appreciate that. It means you give a hell about the company, you know. You know, people want to work for that guy. So back to your question of, if you already own a business, and is it good for you? Absolutely. Because a lot of people are plateauing and they're getting depressed, and like, how do I get to the next level?
Yeah.
So it goes over that in the book too. Like, you know, how to get to the next level, what you should be doing, how you should be acting as a leader, and stuff like that.
Very cool. And I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here, but as it relates to, you know, you talked about the younger generation and getting involved in business and that. I think the book is really valuable because there are benefits to being a business owner. There are, you know, it's awesome being a business owner. And personally, I'd never want to work for someone again in my life, right? Ever. But it does require work. And social media, while it's a valuable tool to help you grow your business, people are getting sucked in, and there's this false imagery, right?
It's dangerous.
It's dangerous, man. Like, people, like, everyone is selling that, you know, be a business owner or be an influencer, and it just comes easy. Like, I went viral just doing this. And it's like, that's not real, man.
100%.
Like, I mean, or it's like hitting the lotto, 1 in a million that does that. The people that are successful, they know why they're successful. They have a process. They've been nailing it down. Yeah. So I think that this sheds some light on what it's really like to be a business owner.
100%, because like, anyone can start a business, but majority of these people start hobbies. It's not a business. People don't really understand what a business is, you know? And like I said, it just goes over it and gives clarity, because I wish I read a book like that when I was, you know, 19, 20, 21, 22. And it's a good help, because it's not easy. And everyone sees the cars, the watches, the dinners, the vacations, but no one sees what it takes to get to that point. And it's hard. It's hard. Doable, very well worth it, but hard.
It's a grind, man.
It's a grind.
But I love it. I think you know, we'll kind of wrap up, you know, goals, right? You had goals. You had a very clear vision. You knew what you wanted to do. I heard that you're surrounded by people you love being around, right? That's key, I think, because you're always enjoying it. Yeah. You're in an industry that you have passion about. Yeah. So it's I think you kind of revealed some secrets right there. Yeah. If you're cool with it, I'd like to kind of just wrap up with like a little rapid fire.
Go for it.
So I'm going to ask you like 4 or 5 questions. I got to check my phone here and just
check it out.
I had some good ones, I thought. So you ready?
Yeah.
We're going to rapid fire. First one, we're going to get right into it. Favorite part of fatherhood?
Watching them grow up.
Worst client disaster story?
Okay. This is going to be a long one.
Shoot it.
So we won't make it long.
Short version.
Long story short, this lady had a house fire. We went in there. We had to get her a mobile home and everything like that, because it was unlivable. So she loved us in the beginning. Everything went well. You know, I sent my wife to Target. She bought her linens, food, stocked her fridge. She was a lady by herself. So, you know, I treat everyone like that, like my grandmother. So I'm like, babe, go to the Target. Insurance isn't going to pay her for a couple weeks. She doesn't really have much money. So I probably spent $4,000 on her trailer. Bedding. My wife bought her pajamas. Whatever. Did a lot. Fast forward 2 weeks later, she's telling the company we were stealing stuff. And you know how we set up containment in homes, like the plastic? She was like, they duct taped me in a room in plastic, and I'm like, man, that's containment. So whatever. And then she tried suing me personally for like $250,000 or something like that. And I just couldn't believe it. I was like, this woman, I was like, no hard feelings though. I did what I did. I helped her out the best I could. Long story short, of course, she couldn't win a lawsuit. We didn't do anything wrong. Okay. But it was just upsetting to help someone out in such a time of need and go so far out of my way for this lady to have it backfire in my face.
That's tough. Yeah, and hopefully it doesn't stain your heart moving forward. Yeah. But all right, one social media myth that drives you crazy.
That views matter.
All right, I like it. Morning routine, chaos or calm?
Chaos.
Okay, 3-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah, like what I'm in or what I want.
Yeah, exactly. All right. And one thing you wish you knew before starting your business,
That it's going to take way longer than I expected.
except for, building and being able to sell within 7 years.
It's going to take way longer than you expect. Everybody thinks they jump in business and it's going to take 3 months and they're going to be driving a Ferrari. It takes years and years of hard work every day.
Awesome, man. Well, listen, this has been great. I
Always a
love hearing
pleasure.
your story. Thank you so much.
No problem, brother.